So today is the solar eclipse, and it's going on right now. So I'm trying to get in the air, but I don't want to miss anything here. Look at my wind has changed directions. All right, so I'm taking a step to my right because you can see the wind's kind of coming at an angle. So that should bring up my left side of my wing first, and we'll see how that goes. So looks like I overcompensated there.
It's really hard to time these switchy winds because they're changing every 1 second. And once your wing starts going in a direction, even if you run to that direction, if it's a lot of times it's just too far gone. So, and you really can't steer the wing until it gets overhead. So now I've reset. I'm going more into the wind, but it's still a little bit of a crosswind, and it pulls up a little bit straighter, so I can at least run the way it's falling here. And then I can steer with my left brake, straighten it out here, and run it out and get liftoff. Right in here, I get a little bit of sink, but it's not too bad. I'm able to throw myself back into the seat here and clear over these power lines, which are typically my biggest concern. If I let off power, it's a lot easier for me to slide back into that seat, but with the power on full throttle, the motor's pushing against me, and it's a little bit more challenging there. My LZ, which I've mentioned many times before, because I've got all these trees all the way around, the wind comes over those trees and it causes these big swirling rotors, and so every time I take off, it's like the flag is spinning in circles, changing directions every time. So I'm like trying to time it, and I'm getting a crosswind and then not a crosswind. So I'm trying to step, to the right or to the left to pull up my left side of the wing or the right side of the wing. It could be real challenging, but I'm getting a lot better at it. And it used to be that I felt like, am I going to be able to take off today? Because I might get too exhausted before I actually get it right. But now I pretty much know, 100% of the time I'm going to get in the air. It might take me a couple tries or something. This solar eclipse was kind of a letdown. Up here we have right now it's about a 95% solar eclipse going on at this exact moment. But when you look at the sun or you look around, you can't hardly tell. Now, when I was actually flying this, it did feel a lot darker for the middle of the day, and it felt a lot cooler, and the winds kind of all dropped down. But besides that, it kind of just looks like a normal day. I mean, even when you look right at the sun, it just kind of looks like everything's normal. Unless you look through those glasses, you can't really tell. My plan for this flight is that I would buzz around pretty low to the ground like this. But this is the middle of the day, and I was hoping the solar eclipse would keep all the thermals at bay. You can see I just got a bunch of lift right here. I added throttle when I felt the lift hit, because typically on the back side of lift is sink, and I was, I don't know, 15 feet from the ground. So I wanted to get up a little higher up in case I got some major sink. So this flight, I'm really not going to be able to buzz, 6 feet off the ground like I like to do around these fields. Just the amount of lift and sink that's going on is pushing me up and down by about 15 feet. So even with throttle, a lot of times you can't power out of that kind of sink, but generally it feels pretty smooth here today. I'm at about 5-mile-an-hour winds, so pretty light. I did get a few strong downdrafts that made me glance up at my lines because I was nervous about them going slack, but it really wasn't an issue. It just made kind of, you know, how your stomach jumps into your throat there. But it was totally fine. It wasn't anything crazy unsafe. Um, my wing is a beginner wing, so even in the middle of the day when you have a lot of this thermal activity, it's nothing that a good stable wing can't handle. I haven't been flying a whole lot. I think this may be because my wife is pregnant with our third little girl, fourth baby. Yeah, I'll throw up a picture here of my family real quick. Um, yeah, I've just been kind of really enjoying hanging out with the family at home right now, and haven't really wanted to go fly. And uh, each one of my kids is just so amazing. They're learning new things every day, and it seems like when I start a hobby, I kind of burn out after 2 or 3 years. I guess I must have a short attention span or something. Um, so before this, I was really into motorcycles, going fast, doing stupid stuff. Then I got into whitewater kayaking. That was a lot of fun. Um, then I got into the quadcopters and doing the FPV and racing those things around. That was a lot of fun. And then ever since college, I've been looking forward into paramotoring, but I really couldn't justify spending the money or the time on it during that period of my life. Now that life has settled out a little bit, I feel like I have a little bit more time, and I've been really enjoying this hobby. But I've been kind of wondering what I've been kind of an adrenaline junkie, so I'm wondering like what's my next hobby going to be? Am I going to burn out of paramotoring? I don't know. Hopefully I'll uh, enjoy this hobby for many years to come. But I was thinking, how do you really top being in a flying lawn chair going through the sky? It's it doesn't seem like something that I'd be able to top. So it's weird. I think I'm getting old. Um, I've been having the desire to get into gardening, which is totally not along the lines of my usual sports, but it seems amazing to me how you take this little seed and you put it in the ground and it grows into all different types of fruits, um, just based off of its genetic code, but it's using the nutrition in the soil to produce all that. I just think it's amazing. Um, when I'm going around houses like this, I try to split in between the houses just so, um, some people get nervous about you flying right over their house, like you're going to drop out of the sky or something. Um, but yeah, I try to give a little bit buffer. I also try not to go around the same houses very often. So that way, every time everybody sees me, it's more a novelty and it's not an annoyance. So anyway, something to keep in mind. My wife and I are working on starting a large remodel, and we're going to turn our house into uh, like a English Tudor cottage or something. Right now, it looks kind of, I don't know, Western farm look or something. And so anyway, we're going to be doing a major remodel here soon. Then my next project, I hope, is maybe building a all year round greenhouse that I can maybe do some aquaponics in and um, grow food all year round, even in the winter when there's 2 feet of snow outside. So let me know in the comments if you guys are interested in seeing that stuff on my YouTube channel. Otherwise, I can just keep it to flying. But yeah, let me know what your preference. If you guys are curious about other stuff I'm up to, um, let me know and I'll post it. I really like flying in my area because there's so many landing spots out here. Quite a few trees, but it's whenever you have lots of landing spots, it just makes flying less stressful because you always have a place you can ditch out to. Here I'm about to head over these trees, so I'm actually going to uh, fly a little circle here, get a little more altitude before I head over them because I'm always kind of thinking about my glide angles and stuff. But when you have a lot of fields like this, it makes it a lot less stressful to fly, which is nice. I'm back home here and I'm setting up for a landing. I'm going to buzz by and see which way my flag's going. It looks like the flag is going the opposite way that I took off, which surprises me, but at the same time, the wind coming over these trees causes all this swirling action. So I usually just go by the flag. I'm lining up here to land, and it looks like I'm too high, and so I decide that I'll go on another pass and get a little bit lower. It's always a little bit nerve-wracking when you're on these real thermal, when you're flying in the middle of the day with all these thermals and the wind coming over the trees and um, all these areas of sink. It makes it just a little bit nerve-wracking to come in for a landing because you don't know if you're going to get sink at the exact second you're coming in for a landing, and you can hit quite hard, which is actually exactly what happens in this on this landing. So I'm setting up again, and I have these power lines that I'm about to fly over here, and so I'm trying to get a nice buffer over them. You don't want to get sink right over power lines, but I judged that I was a little bit too high, so I pulled another circle so I can drop down a little bit lower, and you never know if all of a sudden the wind switches and all of a sudden I'm going downwind, so you got to be ready to kind of abort. Here I clear those power lines coming in. There I just hit a bunch of sink right in here, so I'm coming down pretty fast, and you can see I start my flare a little bit early and I hit pretty hard. Um, it was fine. I went down on my knees a little bit, but it really wasn't too bad. I mean, it's not like it hurt or anything, but it wasn't a graceful landing. Um, but when you're in downward moving air, it's just hard.
Hey guys, so this is the follow me cam that I built, and it took me probably, I don't know, 20 minutes to build it, so it's pretty easy build. And what I did is this metal piece is actually, I don't know if you guys have ever put in can lights, but when you put in can lights, there's these optional brackets, and that's what this is, that attach the can lights to like your beams. I don't use them because you can just screw your can light directly to the face it's mounting to. So anyway, so I just bent it kind of in a number 7 shape, and then it has this little bracket here that I ran a screw through into the bottle cap. You can see in there, and I cut out the back. Some guys, when they do a follow me cam, they'll have it look more like an arrow, and that's a good stable platform, but it doesn't have much wind resistance, so it stays very close to your motor the whole time you're flying. Where this, it has quite a good surface area right here, so it actually blows it back, and that's kind of the shot I like. I noticed that it's a little more bent than it normally is right here, so it may, during that flight, it may have been facing I might not be able to get the wings so much in the shot, so we'll have to see how that shot came out. And then I just did electrical tape. I use these Mobius cameras as both my cameras, and they're like 70 bucks. They're really cheap, and I think they put out almost the exact same quality as the GoPro, so I feel like it's a good value option. And if I lose one, or sometimes I bust through one bashing into something, then it's not a big loss. So anyway, that's my follow me cam setup, and I run the string. You'll notice that during landing, the camera kind of swings forward and like probably bumps into my cage. I have it pretty long. I like it getting it as far back as possible, so that's sort of why I do that. So yeah, thanks for watching my video. Feel free to subscribe, and I'll keep these videos coming. Thanks guys, talk to you next time.